Hi, my name is Daniel Martin, and this is an in-house made documentary about our first full-length album, The Pursuit of Heaviness. The first drum session took place on January 4th, 2020, and the album actually came out on October 31st, 2022. So that means this album took 115 studio sessions spread across 1,031 days. Oh, I didn't even like saying that. Now, if you told me that this was going to take 3 years to do this record, I'd tell you were full of shit. But also, if you told me how good it was going to sound, I'd, again, tell you were full of shit. There were 35 people on this record. This is the kind of record that I've wanted to do for over a decade. Before I put something out, I demand that it be perfect, and 35 people delivered perfection. This is 12 pieces of magic. Thank you, Rob, for believing in this album enough to want to do it, and thank you for believing in the band as well. Thank you, John, Alex, Paige, Ursula, Janine, Jordan, Cody, Connor, and Nikki for all of your long nights of learning material, your patience in studio, and your killer live renditions of this music. Thank you, Matt and Jordan, for spending a weekend with me and filming the interviews that went into this documentary. Thank you, Savage Playground. Thank you, orchestra players. Thank you, guest vocalists and guest guitarists. Thank you, gang vocalists. Thank you, infamous past and present. Thank you, Mom, Dad, and Angela. Thank you, everyone who listens to and supports the music. And thank you, everyone who welcomed us home during this process. So without any further ado, this is the making of The Pursuit of Heaviness.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I love it, man.
Yeah, that's wicked.
Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I really like it. Look at him go. Right on, man.
Okay, so
Yeah.
This is life, this is the party song, this is the fun song, this is the one that everyone wants to dance to.
Well, it's like a pirate anthem.
This is the life. Came about in 2014. I was on the phone with someone, I had a guitar in my hands, and I just started playing this triplety, piratey riff.
Like a good, positive party pirate anthem. I don't know.
And for the longest time, it was just this one riff that I would bust out at parties or bust out whenever I had people over. And it was a really fun riff, it just didn't go anywhere.
Is that a positive pirate party anthem?
And then when I joined Savage Playground the next year, they figured out that I can write. So that was my first musical contribution to them.
Funny enough, that was a song that we kind of originally had planned for Savage, but we just never really it didn't really catch on really. It just wasn't really there.
Yeah, so we debuted it in October of 2015, and it's been kind of a staple in my live music ever since, both in Savage and in Infamous. And it technically is the last release that Savage will ever do, because all the Savage players, like Josh is on drums, Connor's on bass, Riley's on lead guitar. So it's by definition the last Savage Playground song ever.
But then Daniel kind of brought it a new life, and I really think that it suits the Infamous much better anyway.
But before it was just like the four-piece, like the guitars, the bass, the drums, the vocals. And then, because it never got released with Savage, I said, fuck you guys, I'm gonna take it for myself. It's my damn song, god damn it.
To be honest with you too, I just really like all the new ideas and the new lyrics that he added into. Really it's like, oh wow, I never would have thought of that, and that's really cool that he thought of that. You know?
I added all the extra layers, like the violin, the other strings, the organ, the pipe organ, and then the choir vocals.
Recording is almost like cooking in a way. It's just like you start with a basic recipe, but then you realize, no, this needs more oregano, this needs more thyme or something, you know?
We released it as a single in 2019, but it finally gets a proper home on this album.
So this was actually the very first song that I recorded with this band. I'd come in just for the live show for A Taste of Madness. And I came in one night to just lay down keyboard tracks, recorded a couple bits, just one hand at a time, which was different for me as a keyboardist. Really wanted to get them just right, I suppose. came back a few nights later with the group to lay down gang vocals for different things. And that was an interesting process because I kind of learned how that's done, some tricks to fill out the sound that I may keep filed away for some day in the future.
Yeah, and being in the video and stuff, it was just so much fun. And like a good fun day, and then the video itself is really amazing, and it's cool to kind of be able to show people like I was a part of this, and then yeah, it's like such like a kind of a fun folky tune. I don't know.
The video was filmed at Black Pearl Seafood Restaurant, and that's actually the only award that Infamous has ever won so far. We've been nominated for a few, but the one award we've won was at the Edmonton Short Film Festival in 2019, and we won Best Music Video of the Year.
I have these 3 pirate hats that I bring to every concert, and when we put them on as our trio, people know what song is coming up, right? They know exactly which song it is, and they get excited, and you know, it's a good song to dance to, a good song to rock to, and yeah, it's just fun. If you look really closely at one of the hats, there's a little drawing on it, but it's my 5-year-old when she was 5. She's almost 13 now.
Yeah.
So if you look really closely, one of the hats that we wear, every single concert, has a little scribble in the front.
Yeah.
It's a really fun song. It kicks your ass. I've had people messaging me for years, like, I have this song stuck in my head. Oh my god.
Like I'm hoping for Dan that, you know, like everybody is just kind of taking a level up from this album, however that may be, and like there's going to be some shows that I can be a part of. So yeah, that's my hopes for the album. Well, I just think they're a bunch of superstars, so you know they will, you know, be stars somehow, some way, and like they're just like I said, the whole package. They play all these different kinds of music. I feel like there's something for everyone to love there. So
Yeah, it's my longest running child, my oldest child, I guess.
and I, you know, got to be the star in that one, so I'm gonna have to say that's my fave.
And it's a really cool song, and I'm glad it's still with me all this time. This is the rootin' tootin' life for me. Now, Marilyn is not a complicated song. Like, for example, Dancing took about a week to write, start to finish, like from the first riff to having a completed skeleton of a song. Marilyn is not much more musically complicated than Dancing, but it took 6 months to get just right. Why that is, I'll never know.
It's an interesting song musically. It shuffles, which is a little different for this kind of music.
It's our ZZ Top song almost. It's a very, it's got a bit of a blues swingy feel to it.
I had a lot of ideas for that song just because I loved it so much. I remember bringing a bunch of them to Daniel, and he's actually really good about taking like my ideas. I think I had probably the most creative input into that song.
It's this very heavy, sexy, groovy bluesy song, and it takes a swipe at the Hollywood standard beauty.
I think that the subject matter is about people who give up too much of themselves to be something that other people expect them to be.
It takes a swipe at all the rigmarole that particularly women go through in the art industry. Every performance on every song on the album is magnificent, but Alex's guitar solo on this song is fucking next level. When I sat down with Alex for pre-production of this album, I made him dinner, and then we just sat and listened to music for hours, where I showed him guitarists like, well, he knows all these guitarists, but I showed him musicians like Steve Stevens and Slash, Sinister Gates, Kirk Hammett, Richie Faulkner, and all the guys from Judas Priest. I showed him all these legendary guitarists, and I said, because Alex is the kind of musician who can do anything. He can play anything. I don't want you to like copy these guitarists or not even necessarily emulate these guitarists. I want you to do the same thing as these guitarists. I want you to play epic.
I think one of my influences on that song was a jazz song that Marilyn Monroe was once known for singing called My Heart Belongs to Daddy, so I may or may not have stolen a couple licks from that in my solo.
And the solo on Marilyn is a very good testament to Alex just hitting that shit out of the park.
Honestly, one of my favorite things about that is the stuff that Jonathan contributes, because I know he's a big fan of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, so it really sounds like he let out his inner Keith Emerson on that one. He's got some really cool synth parts and this crazy solo that sounds like it's descending into hell. So that's probably my favorite part of the song there.
And it's also a little different from some of the other songs on the record in the approach on the drums is a little different in that it's less complex, or as we like to call it, simple. Paige, the drummer, is a very good drummer and writes really interesting parts. This one particularly was a little less intense than some of the other ones and just a little more straight ahead, which I think is it's a good approach for getting the bottom end of the groove to feel really heavy. You know, the more intricate the bottom end of the groove is, for me, the lighter it feels. And although there's, I'm certainly that wouldn't be a unanimous opinion amongst sort of progressive rock types.
Assuming we can get off our asses to do a video for this one, it's gonna be pretty kick-ass. For the video for Marilyn, which we did not have when we filmed the documentary at first, this was a video that I've had a script for since fall of 2019. This has been essentially like 2.5 years coming. It's a script that has not changed a lot since we first wrote it up. It's been this huge ordeal. It's from an effort standpoint, it's the biggest video we've ever done. And over 100 people auditioned for the lead role. And I'm not exaggerating that. We had some roadblocks like COVID. And so we had to kind of stop. We had to kill the thing for a bit and then start it back up. But every time we did it, there was this girl in my inbox named Wendy. And Wendy kept at it. She was always one of the first people to respond. She's like, yeah, I want this role. And eventually she got it. So when Marilyn is played by this beautiful, timeless, ageless beauty named Wendy Abbott. She was there half an hour before I was, and she had to drive 2 hours. So it's probably my favorite part about her is how bad she wanted the role. She's like, I want this. So all you aspiring actors out there, any directors that you want a role for, I mean, don't be annoying, but get the role. You want it. Yeah, Wendy was great. Wendy, smart as a whip, just took directions and didn't need a whole lot of directions, but she stayed, she filmed the whole thing in one day, and yeah, Wendy was perfect, and I could not have picked a better Marilyn. As far as the actual video goes, we had some setbacks where there was a minor issue with a fog machine and a smoke alarm, and we talked to our person who was in charge of getting us the location, and I said, hey, this isn't going to be a problem, is it, with the smoke alarm going off? And he's like, no, it's fine, this isn't connected to anything. And 30 seconds after he said that, we start hearing the sirens and we start seeing the big bushly armed firemen jumping out of their trucks. So I had to run out in my curled mustache and my makeup, and I was like, wait, there's no fire! So they come in, they see the drum set, which is all super well lit, they see the lights, they see the smoke, they see the band in their sexy, hot ass outfits, and they're like, you're shooting a music video. Okay, great. So Edmonton Fire Dispatch number 4 is on our special thanks list for being so cool about that whole thing. Yeah, we had a lot of good help. That was I think my first time working with Amanda Carnevale, the makeup artist. She's great. She's definitely coming back. This was the first music video that we've had to work with where there were multiple directors. I mean, Barrett and I, we kind of go back and forth and that's all well and good, but there had to be multiple directors. There had to be a second assistant director, there had to be a third assistant director, and there's all these roles, and this felt like a real film set, which sometimes their videos do, sometimes they don't. But this one was a deal. And it took 2.5 years, but we pulled it off, finally. And everyone did a really good job, and we couldn't be happier. Spooky Party would be next.
I understand that's a working title.
We are going to change the name on that one.
I would concur in the fact that those words never actually appear in the lyric.
It's kind of a nod to our foundation. Like, Infamous started as kind of like a spooky theatrical rock band, and Spooky Party, it kind of nods to that.
That is probably my favorite song of the album, and there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that I absolutely love siren songs. Like when you have this haunting vocal lines that just like lure you in, bring you in. I love that. It's so much fun. So from the nerdy perspective, we get to do these very nice tensions with the instruments and with Daniel's voice.
It just builds so much energy, and it's a little mysterious, a little sexy, and a little spooky. And we did something different on that one in the sense that there's an organ solo.
So it was a bit of a different process. This was one that we had never performed live, and it took a lot of just learning at home before coming in.
Yeah, wasn't sure what to expect when I said, write an organ solo, but he came back and we were like, okay.
There were a lot of sections that needed to be filled in, have parts written, and that was new. I muddled through figuring out just what to put where. Came in and we workshopped a few things and wound up with a finished product that should be pretty decent.
It's interesting. Daniel and I had a discussion the other day about I said his music was very guitar centric, that as it came, you know, there's a lot of guitars in it, and he said no, I don't think it is. I think it's but this one really feels like that to me. It's interesting. Over the course of production, I think at last count there were about 600 guitar players in this band, something like that. There are a lot of guitar players in the Infamous, and obviously I'm being glib, but
I hope so.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I wasn't counting. He just kept sort of bringing guitar players in, that all of whom could really play, which was really interesting to me. You know, rather than having one guitar player play a bunch of parts, he has several guitar players playing one part. So that's interesting. This song, I think, really sort of showcases that. There are a lot of different rhythm guitar parts being played by different players. There's some really good solos. I mean, there's some really good musicians in this band, for sure.
I'm also going to note that Spooky Party was also a really good testament to Ursula. Ursula is one of the vocalists in the vocal trio, and she documents not every note that is sung in the band. She's got a binder you could kill a man with.
I'm the nerd, so I like to keep good track of our harmonies, what we do, who does what, and create the sheet music for it. So showing up and be like, okay, so we're gonna change to this now, and we're going to do it on the spot. It's just like panic mode. I'm pretty sure Daniel got tired of hearing, but this is what we wrote. I brought it, it's printed out.
And this song was a very good testament to Ursula's hard get up and go.
And then me coming back the next day with blank sheet music so I can rewrite it and bring it back home to rewrite it again. Because I document everything, as you've mentioned before.
And she was actually present for a little bit of the lyric writing process, and she was very responsible for the concept of the song.
I don't know, I just really love how it turned out and like that effect it had. So just from the musical standpoint, I absolutely love that song. It was so much fun to do.
Dancing started as kind of like a bet with myself, where I was like, I bet you can't write a song that is poppy and catchy as fuck, choral and wholesome, and also heavy as fuck.
That one's another one that you can just kind of rock out to. That one's another dance, another fun one.
So it was a hold my beer, watch this moment.
In the intro, I was sort of given a really basic guitar part, and I turned that into my own melody. One of the rare occasions you show up to a studio and this producer's like, that's too simple, we need to make it more complicated. So, you know, there's a lot of suspended chords, stuff like that, just to spice things up.
One of the things that's sort of common on this record is that these songs are not written from a pop sensibility.
It's a very upbeat, easy, accessible, kind of plug in and play. It's a good representative of the album as a whole.
I think this one probably gets the closest to a pop song on this record. It starts with a really hooky kind of a keyboard line. The guitars they have a nice big heavy sound, which is sort of indicative of what the Infamous is about, I think, sonorically speaking. Sonorically? Did I just make up a new word?
We said strange things.
think it makes good use of the female voices in the band.
You can hear my background vocals on quite a bit of this particular song. So it was fun to record this one.
It definitely turned out really, really well. And she nails the song. It's beautiful. And I can't wait to play it on stage again. We've played it live once at the Rec Room. That was our last concert before COVID, and it oh my God, the crowd reaction was like insane.
One of the things that I've noticed about the writing, he comes from the point of view of, as I say, kind of progressive rock and heavy guitars and lots of big, loud drums and that sort of thing. But there's a real melodic sense about it. And this song actually has a fair amount of that in it. Really interesting kind of, for me anyway, melodic twists to it. So,
but it also had a bit of 80s in it, you know, with that synth. So I was like, I'll put a lot of chorus on my guitar. I think Rob really challenged us when we were playing in the studio. You know, I'm used to doing homemade recordings with bands, and you know, you sort of play what you want to play and do your own vision, and there's not usually anybody there saying, no, do it this way, do it that way. I can see why some people wouldn't like that, but I think it really makes it for an interesting experience. You've got someone who knows what they're doing, who says, try this out, and he really pushes us to create the best album we can. You know, Daniel has an idea, and then I have my idea over top of that, and then Rob gives feedback, and then we go back to my idea, and then Daniel decides if he likes our ideas, and yeah, that's basically how the album was formed.
So the music video for Dancing, we had a girl come dance with us. Her name is Elsie English, and she's just a lovely human being. She was so fun to work with, so easy and accommodating, and I'm not a dancer, but she made me feel like more of a dancer. Her and Joey Bothwell, an old film school dance teacher of mine, they both kind of, at very separate times in my life, they both kicked my ass to the point where I could be in this video. I wasn't supposed to be. I was supposed to be just in a cameo at the end with everyone else, but I kept having actors bail on me, so I just said, fuck all of you, I'm gonna do it myself, because I know I won't fuck it up, and I didn't.
The video on this one is really, it's different from what we've done before, which is kind of cool. All I had to do is show up and have a good picnic, and you know, we ate really well.
And the video is very sweet and colorful, and it was a really strong first step. And it's actually, it's got more views than all of our other videos put together. And I'm hoping that only goes up from there.
The way I like to think about it, the original album, the first album had a lot of black eyeliner. Dancing with the Fires has more colorful blue, purple, you know, something you wear to a rave.
Two, three.
Yeah, okay, so this one is a pretty cool story.
Summer started as a riff that Connor just would always play.
Is a really cool kind of a folky guitar riff, and even though he's a bass player, I understand he's quite a good guitar player as well, but he's a really good musician is what he is.
I think I was just hanging out with Daniel one day and I was just like, hey Daniel, like, not to like toot my own horn here, but I have a riff that I think you might like.
And every time he played it, I'd say, dude, that should be a song. And he'd say, dude, yeah, it should. But he never did anything with it.
And I'm not really sure where to go with it.
And then eventually he reached out to me and said, hey, I'm not gonna do anything with this song, this riff. You should.
I think it'd be awesome if you kind of add your spice to it. I think you could make something out of it.
So, okay. No pressure, taking your child and making it my own.
Finally, one day he's just like, hey, Connor, so you remember that riff? Well, I think you might like this. And then he sent me a demo of what he called Summer. And then I listened to it and I was like, oh man, you took something that I had only a chunk of and turned it into like something else. Like, wow, dude, I'm impressed. That is fantastic.
But yeah, so I took this riff that Connor had and I made it into a song, and he didn't play bass on it, but I still wanted him to be on it, and I said, fuck it, Connor, do you want to sing lead vocals on this one?
And then on my birthday, it was my 24th birthday, he was just like, come down to the studio. And then he's just like, so, you ever sang lead vocals on a song before? Nope. Well, you will now.
Because he's got a great voice. He does. He's never had a chance to really flex that. So it only made sense to me. So we sung the song together, and he did a really good job.
So I got to co-lead on Summer, which was nuts, man. I never got to do that kind of stuff. I usually just do like bass or guitar work, really, but finally here was a chance where I got to do something entirely different.
It's really a pretty big departure from the rest of the album in terms of sound, in terms of production approach, because I hear this beautiful little folk song.
I still love how it starts off very soft and then it gets like into that rock-y ballad kind of deal.
And I think there were certainly some efforts along the way by the members of the band to sort of claw it back closer to the infamous sound, which I probably kind of pushed against.
I can't wait to hear how it sounds. I haven't heard how it sounds yet, but it was just such a cool thing to see.
And this one would be amongst my favorites, I think, on the record in terms of the song itself. Yeah.
So this is like your favorite you're gonna get?
Well, it's not a contest, but it certainly I certainly like it. But.
If you guys were in the recording studio, all the instruments he has and all the songs, it's ridiculous. And this kind of stuff I think you hear in like professional movies, and the fact that like an Edmonton band is doing that is insane. Just the amount of complexity and the depth that Daniel really puts into his music, and just the heart he also has for it. It makes me care about it too, right? Because he cares about it so much. It sounds so weird. I've been with this band coming on 2 years now, and I've never been on stage with them. Isn't that so weird? I'll be nervous as all heck that I'm gonna mess up, people are gonna hate me, or I'm probably gonna have the best time of my life.
Storms of way to sunrise, soon to be a brand new day.
It's the first song with Infamous where I'm lead vocals for the whole song. It's a fun song to play. I really enjoyed performing it. You know, we've often talked about how the album is very eclectic, and this is one of the songs that doesn't quite fit in with all the other songs. So it's one where I want to be fairly choosy about which concerts we play it at. The lyrics kind of fit the occasion because it was really stormy right before we played. So storms actually gave way to sunrise that time.
So we all come together and we are alive. The world debut of Summer, baby, just for you.
So one of the songs I like the best in the album that also stands out a lot, and it was a lot of fun recording, was the song with Amanda.
Amanda Kiernan, who is one of the biggest metal vocalists in Western Canada. So the fact that she's on this album is like...
AK are the initials of the incredibly talented female singer that sang the, I'm not going to say the lead track, but the opening track, vocal track on this, because it's very much a duet.
Which would fit in with the tradition of doing a duet on every album, the previous one being Dark Waltz. So her and I started talking about it. I went over to her apartment one day.
This is the first time that we got to like hang out and clicked right away and having so much fun, always laughing. And then he just like, we didn't even start writing, he just started asking me about my life.
I started with a very simple question. What makes you happy? To which she answered, nature.
And he was like digging deep into my brain, asking me so many like questions that for somehow he like was writing, he was like writing as I was talking.
I wrote down everything she said, and then I recorded a few melodies that she sung.
And it blew my mind. He wrote a song out of my story.
I basically just took her on a brain journey for 3 hours. And by the time that 3 hours done, we had a concept and we had lyrics.
It was bizarre, and I've never had that in my life, so what a cool experience that was.
And then I left it alone for a little bit. I came back to her a few weeks later. She'd forgotten the entire thing. But I came back with a finished demo. And she was very moved by this song that I brought before her. And she's like, oh my God, did you write this? And I was like, no, you did.
Because I was like, I did nothing. And he's like, yes, you did. Like, you wrote the whole thing. And I was like, I was just talking. Like, he's like, that's what. So that was so cool. Like, what a neat way to, you know, pick someone's brain and write a song out of that.
My understanding is that the lyrical metaphor here is, you know, humanity versus Mother Nature. Which, and the lyric is really, really well crafted.
It's just a very beautiful tune. And Daniel's vocals and Amanda vocals just mash together very nicely.
This is also one of my favorites. You know, I'm picking all the quiet ones.
Daniel is like such a hard worker, and their music is so unique and takes you on a journey, and it's pretty wicked. I'm really enjoying what they're coming up with and what they've done, and I'm really honored to be a part of it.
This one was also one of the ones that we used strings on, which I think is an interesting sound in the progressive rock world. Okay, let's
I'm keen to have everyone hear that song.
It's this beautiful, tragic, agonizing song about a relationship not working. And the music video for this song is going to crush people.
We haven't even finished recording the video yet, but like even the first like half we did, oh my goodness.
When you watch it, have tissues nearby.
It'll connect to people in different ways.
AK was the hardest earned personality of all the songs on the album, because there was a lot of pulling and tugging on the direction of the song, and I have a very vivid memory of recording the last of the quartet in the song where I got a little emotional in studio, and because the song didn't feel like mine anymore. So we're working, we're getting it back, but AK is it's the hardest earned song on the album, and I hope that it reflects that in the final product.
But I'm excited to like finally, when it's finally time to sit and have a listening party, that's when it's all finished. But it's so fun to like watch it come together and be a part of it. I'm just so happy to be involved in this. I really love your unique approach on how you write songs and how you get into, you know, how to get into character for the camera and stuff. So I had so much fun, and thank you so much for this opportunity. And cheers to Daniel and the Infamous. Just kill it. Take your passion and fucking, even right now more than ever, fucking, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I say fuck a lot.
No. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's a perfect way to end this, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I'm never more myself when I'm killing you. Stay with me in this garden of fire.
Also, this song is getting used in a movie.
Is it that note? Right. So, Enslave Me. This is another one that it's interesting because it starts out with a keyboard, like a synth type sound that is just kind of a precursor for what we're about to get ourselves into with the guitars.
Enslave Me is this big, angry, horrible, fucking ragey motherfucker. And it started, Enslave Me actually started from the Taste of Madness sessions, where it almost was a Taste of Madness song.
It's one of the spooky songs of the album, I think, for sure.
And it's got beautiful moments in it as well, but it's, oh my god, I'm so excited to play this one live, just to see the kids break their necks in the front row. When I first signed Cody onto the album, we had a discussion where I said, hey, just so you know, this album isn't going to be super heavy from what you're used to. He's like, yeah, whatever. I showed him songs like Dancing, and he's like, this is pretty heavy still. And then I showed him Enslave Me, and he's like, oh my god.
That one was the first song that when I started learning everything, that was the first clip that I had been sent in it. He told me before he sent me anything, he's like, we're not going really metal or hard, anything really all too heavy. And then as I started learning the songs, I learned that he was very much a liar.
It's one of the heaviest songs of the album.
Because I opened that song, I was like, this is not poppy stuff that he told me. So I think right from the beginning he was trying to rope me into some joke.
This one also, I think, showcases Paige's, the drummer's, penchant for intricacy in her arrangements. And again, I'm not sure how much of that she gets from Daniel and how much of it she does herself, but I know that it's successful, whatever that partnership is. It's a very aggressive song in the bottom end, and then it kind of departs to a solo piano interlude, if you like, in the middle.
And for the longest time, that's all it was just the 60 seconds of piano. And then I was like, this is beautiful, but it's also angry and agonizing, and I wanna make a song that surrounds this, that's ugly and horrible and like maybe doesn't even make you feel good at the end of it. That's exactly what happened. It went from being a 60-second piano bit to 6 minutes of rage.
It's just one of those songs that I think a lot of people can relate to, because it talks about, like all the things in your life that weigh you down and get in the way of like success or other things in life. And yeah, it's just one of those things that I think encompasses a wide variety of feelings and like experiences that a lot of people can relate to.
So it's interesting that that a lot of this writing does that it has sections as opposed to your standard kind of verse, chorus, bridge arrangement. I referred earlier to wanting to learn things as I'm working, and that's been an interesting thing for me because I very much come from a verse, chorus, bridge kind of a mentality, and most of the people I work with want to create things that are designed to get on sort of pop radio or top 40 radio, and this is, I wouldn't say that this isn't designed to do that, but it's not designed with that specifically in mind. It's designed to I think it's designed to portray what Daniel's vision is musically. So that's been an interesting thing for me.
That shit hits deep, man.
How so?
It's, I mean, I just think of like, because we filmed a music video for it. Am I allowed to spoil that yet?
And the video for this one is also going to be very different from what we're used to. We're introducing new elements like gore.
Everybody in the band got to choose their own their own thing that like chains them down in life.
And it's going to be very dread-inducing. Like we're taking a lot of inspiration from Saw, or The Cell, or Mindtile by Rammstein, and it's a pill. It's an endeavor, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, like my concept for the music video was me like giving too much compassion and not receiving enough.
Imbalance there.
Imbalance there, yeah. And so then eventually, of course, if I give too much and I'm not receiving a lot, then it's just gonna crumble me to the ground, right? And so that was like that whole concept.
It's probably one of my favorites next to, there's a couple other heavy ones. I won't spoil it, but there's a lot of good ones. I'm in a lot of, very, typical, stereotypical scene metal, so I want to do something different, and this, like I said, the theatrics of it drew me in, but obviously the songs are a good enough reason to stick around, because they were a lot of fun to play, and they're even more fun to record, and I can't wait to actually, for this COVID crap to do its thing and we can play shows again.
Yeah.
Because that'll be when everything comes to fruition with it, right? And this whole album just kicks ass from front to back.
After Enslave Me is this very groovy song that I will have to rename at some point called
Nightmaregasm.
Great name.
Yeah, it is a great name. I understand that's also a working title, but
so.
ironically, it's what I had just before I. No, I'm kidding.
This one, I don't know where this name came from, to be honest.
I assume that's a Daniel question.
That's a Daniel question.
Nightmaregasm. It came out of me in Vancouver, where I would walk around at midnight with a little portable amp tied to my hip and a guitar, and I would just kind of mobile busking in a way. It's a really economic riff. It's just 2 notes, and we didn't break the budget on that one.
Yeah, it was in general that song was one of the more simplistic ones, but it still had its little of grooviness to it.
Really straight ahead in the bottom end. I think Paige did a great job of just locking that groove down, and as I say, digging a hole with the groove.
That one in general was it was a bit more laid back, and I didn't want to put too much in the way of the drums for it. I just wanted to keep a good beat, but still have some what feel like off-time accents in it, and it seems to have worked out really, really well.
Yeah, it's this really cool, groovy song where it could do a lot of things. It could be the song where you get down with your favorite person, or it could be a big Fight Club WWE entrance song. It's got that kind of that verve and that attitude to it. Or it could be your song to see your favorite dancing girl to.
It's got a neat little feel to it. It's got a little groove, and it just kind of sticks with you.
The vocal trio gets very bluesy with it.
Again, a strong beat coming in, one that you can bop your head onto. I can see people kind of in the mosh pit at very center stage.
The guitar player, one of the many other guitar players, Alex McPhail, played a great track on this one where he uses a wah-wah pedal. It harkens back to those kind of late 60s metal bands, people like Jimi Hendrix, things like that made good use of that.
Alex again pulled out all the stops and gave me some very Slash-ish sexy guitar work.
It's a really interesting tune. I like the straight ahead aspect of it. I like, again, the simplicity of the bottom end of this track, for me, makes it way heavier. It gives it way more gravitas. This feels like heavy music to me.
whole new crew we've got. Some things have changed since we got the demo recordings, you know, the stuff for us to learn, and then as the recording process went on, it kind of changed and evolved into its own thing. And it sounds way better than what we started with.
It's not the but it is on the cover art though.
I know.
It is.
You better get on it, buddy.
It is actually on the album cover art though. That's not the song name. So if we're gonna change it, we gotta change it fast.
You better, or else it's gonna be known the song as Nightmare Gasm That Once Was.
That once. That was.
Formerly known as Nightmare Gasm.
It's been a pretty good experience. It's just a matter of the songs do change. Each song has its own little feel, its own little texture to it, its own little nuances. I think there's a bit of everything for everybody in it. So I think it was good. It was a good experience. It was fun.
Tonight you were promised Edmonton's classiest band. When they show up, we will be sure to let you know.
This one.
Is this your idea?
No, this was not my idea. I did have nothing. I had nothing to do with the naming of the songs.
Shredfest.
I mean, this song is just, for me, is just basically showing off.
This is the racing song. This is the song that I hope incites many speeding tickets.
Well, that one is like plain rock and roll, like go fast, upbeat, great guitar riffs, great drums. I love Page's song.
It's the fastest song we've ever recorded at 220 BPM for all you musician nerds out there.
These guys are all good players. They have several, I think, 300-400 guest guitarists.
It's got some of the best guitarists in Western Canada on it, where we have a guest solo by John Simon Fallon of Order of Chaos, Tim Brown from Striker, and Mark Jans from Dexterous. 3 massive names in the hard music arena.
None of whom I met. They worked at home in their home studios and sent us the track, and we built it into this. That may be partially due to COVID and almost certainly due to geography.
And I feel very blessed that we got their names and their talents on this song.
Ringring was, when I heard that one the first time, it was very 80s thrash. And I mean, obviously being a Metallica fan, that song took me right in.
It's also got a little bit of a punk vibe to it too, in the way that the backing vocals come in. It's a very cool, shreddy 4 minutes, or however long it is. Riff in the song that takes more effort from me than the entire rest of the song put together, and it's only like 20 seconds long, but on a bad day I can't play it. It's got to be a good day. Before I went to record it, I spent weeks just getting the song ready, but getting this one riff, and the only time I've really gotten it right was when we were recording it. So.
Well, let's hope you work on that for live performances.
Yeah, it's a song that's gonna go over really well live. I'm just kind of dreading that 20 seconds. Locked wrists.
It's just one of those where you just want to headbang too.
I'm more of obviously, you know, a new metal kind of metalcore guy, but the throwback to the 80s thrash that got me into the music in general was definitely something I enjoyed about that song.
Just like those guitar solos in the intro there, they just like hit an itch in my brain. I don't know, it scratches my brain. I like it. I think it's like a great showcase.
Great solos, a lot of showing off going on, a lot of fast playing. In fact, I think one of the sort of main lyrical lines is about going faster. So it's kind of race you to the end, this tune, but it's a lot of fun.
Go faster, go faster, go faster, go faster, go faster, go faster, go hey, 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 go faster.
Yeah. I was worried about that one, but I think we did okay. It's coming. Fuck you.
I adore this song. Falcon is so much fun to play. I get to like step out from behind my impenetrable fortress of keyboards and cables and just jam out on the guitar for about 6 minutes.
Falcon, that's like our Iron Maiden piece of the album.
Falcon was the first song I wrote after the Taste of Madness, deliberately after the Taste of Madness sessions.
You know, John, Daniel, and I all shred all over that one.
Everyone has at least one solo in the song, including myself. Which... Buckle up, kids.
Daniel came up with that. You know, he's the first concert I saw with him. He played with a folk metal band, and we've had some associations with folk metal bands. So I think that's what he was going for.
We played it live for a few shows beforehand. I was vaguely part of the writing process here, in that I was noodling around solos while we were working out parts initially, and Dan was like, "I like what you're doing there. We're gonna put that in here." Of course, I'd entirely forgotten what I was doing there and had to come up with something else, which seems to have gone over just as well.
It was written to be a strong opener. And it doesn't have to be an opener, we can play it anywhere in the set, but that was the mission statement with the song, is it's gonna be this really powerful, wake the fuck up opener song. And we've started concerts with it, we've ended concerts with it. It can do no wrong in a set list. It's good anywhere.
I can see why you mentioned that this was a favorite of a lot of the members of the band.
Yeah, a lot of them are like this one.
Yeah, because this is a fun thing to play. It's fun to play in the triplet vibe. So it's a really aggressive tune. It's really aggressive in the bottom end. There's a lot of good playing going on. I can see why the guys in the band like it. I like it as well. It's a good sounding track.
So one of the things I tried initially was doing a flute solo there. So I pulled it out, did a little solo. I did that live at one of the concerts that we did. Recorded that, but one of the things he wanted to make that song was sort of a big guitar extravaganza.
The guitar orchestra.
I'm definitely not complaining that we got too much of that.
It's got some really cool dual guitar sections. It's got some really singable parts. Paige just abuses the shit out of the drum kit, and it's a really fun song, and I can't wait to play it live again.
It's one of the more fun ones to play off the new album, just because it's, again, it is a relatively straightforward song, but it's got some nice upbeats, downbeats, and it's got a nice feel to it. It just I don't know, just got a good energy to it. Feels fun to play.
Is it safe to say then that that's probably your most favorite song on this album?
It's a strong contender.
What does it contend with?
Ooh, that's a tough one. No, I think Falcon's the standout, actually.
Falcon's the number one.
Definitely.
I just mentioned to Daniel, like, as we're listening to the partially finished track, I can hear things that I need to continue to work on. But
yeah, you mentioned the acoustic there.
Yeah, there was one guitar track as we're listening to it. I'm going, yeah, it's a little ahead of the beat, but so we'll fix that up.
I love how you put it out with your ear so quickly. I wouldn't have noticed. I guess it's your job.
So yeah, that was sort of my opportunity to pull out my inner Yngwie Malmsteen and tread up and down the harmonic minor scale.
I was listening to the song last night as a refresher here, and hearing it really come together just in the rough mix we have now is very, very satisfying. It's also really satisfying when we nail that harmony ending. It took some doing to get all three of us really in sync on that, but oh boy.
So that's, yeah, I think that's what I have to say about that one.
So the almost last song on the album is Ghost of Lovers Past.
Great title.
And Ghost of Lovers Past is the oldest song on the record. It's, by the time it comes out, it'll be over a decade old. And it's also the most complicated, so I guess 19-year-old me had some compensation issues.
This is a really interesting tune for me. It has a, for me, and I don't want to compare, but it has a kind of a Pink Floyd vibe to it.
It's like our prog rock piece. It almost takes you to space. That was one of the things Daniel told me when we first started the song. He wrote a synth part for the intro and a piano part, but no guitar part. And he was like, okay, use all those pedals you got and make it sound like a synth. Make it sound weird. So yeah, we did a lot of cool things. There was a lot of experimentation. Daniel had some weird chords and tweaking another guitar's tuning to try to arpeggiate chords in a certain way. So I'm not sure exactly what ended up on the album, you know. As I was saying, things change. Kind of reminds me of some themes. I know, like the theme from Fallout video game, and I think it is the longest song that we have so far. I think it's longer than No Fear Tonight. I think about 8-9 minutes.
Out of all the songs you've worked on this album, what would be your favorite piece if you had to choose one?
Oh, if I had to choose one, I'd kind of have to say with Ghost. Actually, it actually is a great song. It's very ballady, but at the same time, it offers a lot of dynamics that you don't necessarily see in some of the other songs. I think it really stretches the musicality of what Infamous is trying to go for.
There are the strings there. There is a lot of really good playing happening on this tune.
You've got these weird key changes all over the place, which I think gives it a really interesting mood.
The third of the plethora of guitarists, John Pasder, came in. He's also the keyboard player. So again, a really talented young musician, and it's too bad he's such a prick to work with. I'm kidding. So let's just do that again.
Is that it?
A really talented young musician, and very good piano player and a really good guitar player as well. This one showcases his piano work a lot. I mean, it's a part that was written by Daniel, but definitely performed by John.
I'm looking forward to playing Ghost live. So this long song for Infamous, and there's it's more intricate than I think some of the others we've done so far. So it'll be an experience to kind of pull that off. I don't know if we've played that one live yet. One time?
Yeah, Ghost was my first music video, and you know, I think it's like honestly a very beautiful song. Like, you know, all the operatics and then switching towards that like ripping guitar solo towards the end there feels like Infamous's November Rain.
It's a really interesting tune. This one also uses the string quartet on it.
I think we straddle the line pretty good between metal and rock, but I'm always very horny, I guess, to write orchestra music. It's a genre I've been very curious about, and I want to learn more about it. So right now I know how to write for strings, and I'm starting to dabble in writing for woodwind and reed instruments, but I definitely want to learn how to write brass sections and big percussion section. That is kind of a pinnacle bucket list thing for me, is to do a full-scale Infamous concert with a symphony. Be it the Edmonton Symphony Orchestra, or this is me talking to you, Edmonton Symphony Orchestra. I'm coming for you. I want to get your attention. I want Senpai to notice me. We're gonna play a show together, whether you like it or not.
Well, the video was difficult because I dropped my pick during the intro, the first take. So I just had to commit to fingerstyle for the rest of it.
Can you be sure that I exist?
We got through it. Hopefully the next one isn't 10 minutes long.
There's a lot of singing going on by the girls. Lyrically, it's a really interesting kind of a story that Daniel's telling. It's an interesting bit of poetry, if you like, lyrically. And it has, because of the fact that it turns around in a place that you're not expecting, it sort of lends itself to the lyrical content a bit. You know, ghosts and different, you know, things otherworldly type things. And so there's a fair amount of that going on. There's a bit of sound effects work going on in this, some of which Daniel did with his guitar, just to give it that otherworldly kind of vibe or something. Yeah.
I've been asked about this before. I've had many fingers in my face saying, this is about this breakup or that breakup, and I say, nope. For starters, the people who hurt me don't get to be in my songs. And it's about every breakup ever. Mine, or yours, or anybody's. It's every breakup ever.
And perhaps the most sort of unique part of this song is there's an interlude, a guitar interlude.
So after, you know, the verse, chorus, it goes into this very ballady, clean guitar rhythm solo. So good luck.
That I don't know whether Daniel wrote it in his sleep or what happened, or if he was visited by aliens or something. But it has I think it's 15/8 time, and it doesn't sound unnatural. Which things like, you know, odd time signatures can very often sound unnatural, and sometimes I run into musicians that do it just because they can, and which is not generally all that musical. But this one actually feels really quite normal in the place that it's in.
Ghost is a bit more tricky for the fact that wanted to give a lot of the atmospheric stuff some texture, so I didn't want to do too much in the way of the drums with that, but I also wanted to make it feel like it was unique.
The song is very windy and journey-ish, and you're not quite sure where it's going to go, and then it builds when the band comes back into this big epic outro where everybody in the band is playing. It has a very strong ending.
This one encompasses a lot of what the Infamous is about.
Yeah, it has like a more like almost like a haunting feeling to it.
Yeah, this would be at the top, near the top of the list for me. If it was a contest, which it's
if you had to choose your top 5 at least.
Yeah, if I had to. So I'm not likely to do it.
Nope, fair enough.
Each time is a little different, obviously. Each producer is a little different to work with, but it's a little more technical in the way it was presented. So in the way it's made, it's a longer song, it's much more ambitious, at least lengthwise. The process was relatively straightforward, but in general, take 3 takes and then kind of do the fill-ins and make sure it's all proper. With this one here, the similar process in general, but them offering other suggestions, some that I hadn't thought of at the time, and learning what they were trying to accomplish, and then introducing it when we were actually recording it. It took a little bit of finagling on my part to make it work.
I think that song is the only song on the album where my solo is just complete improv. A lot of the songs, they had a very specifically written solo that I came up with. With this one, it was just like, let's jam, let's shred, let's come with something completely on the spot. And, I think that just sort of goes with the whole mood of the song, what I associate it with.
Practice album, kind of getting ready, preparing for this moment like a fucking decade ago. And Ghost is the only song that transitioned from the practice album to the actual album. It was the only one that was good enough.
So you want me to just repeat?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this sounds like Metallica to me.
Oh, that's definitely wow, that's fantastic. Thank you. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's definitely the first time I'm hearing that.
The rehearsed line.
You heard it here. Was that?
It does feel like that.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. That doesn't get into any of your making of videos.
Oh, it has to.
No, I'm not giving you that. I'm not giving you clearance on that. Now, this is the part that feels like Pink Floyd.
And then later feels like Metallica.
Yeah, I know, that's right. Later it feels like Metallica.
Oh. Another hit. That was good. That was good shit. But I think the very last song on the album is going to be a tune that is working titled as Big Life.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. I feel like that one's going to be on the radio.
This is a really, really great song. Starts out with a keyboard riff that is, again, very Infamous-like.
It's a little bit more of like this ethereal, a little bit of cryptic lyric type of song. How would you say it? With kind of like a hopeful feel to it.
And the opening line, what if I told you I could live a whole life in the length of one song, is that kind of capitalizes the song as a whole.
I feel like it's like peppy, can get into like anybody's, like spirit, and yeah, that one's gonna, I don't know why, I just have a feeling about that one.
So it's just one of those songs that you listen to and it just puts a smile on your face. You may not be able to pinpoint why, but it does. It just kind of lifts you up.
Big Life was inspired by a lot of artists that I wouldn't normally kind of put through my filter and then back out into the world, like Florence and the Machine, or Josh Groban, or Sleeping at Last, that US artist that I've been listening to a lot the last 2 years.
I absolutely love how it just keeps growing. Like the vocal line, it just keeps growing and growing and growing until you get to this big climax. And it's one of those fun things that we also got to do when doing the harmonies. It's like support that growing of the song and that finding the climax portion.
It's a very ambient piece where it again capitalizes very much on the quartet, and it's in a major key, which doesn't happen often in Infamous music.
There were places where I got heavy-handed with the arrangements, and he rebuffed me on at almost every turn. Didn't listen to a word I said. That's not true. I should mention also that there are 2 bass players on this record, Connor Miskman, that we talked about earlier, and Cody Ruin, who came in kind of mid-project. And he played a great track on this. Really, it's simple, but it's just exactly what it needed to be. And it's got a great sound. Cody's got a really great kind of metal vibe about the way he plays, and the sound of his guitar is really great. So I appreciated that.
No guitar solo, no solos, just a journey. It's very wordy as to lots of lyrics to memorize.
We were sitting in the studio one day and Daniel said, I'm not happy with the last verse of this song. And so we sat and kind of labored through the last 3 lines. And normally when I work with artists, I do a lot of either co-writing or just helping to kind of refine things, lyrics, music, whatever. So this was my first opportunity to do that with the Infamous, and the fact that Daniel has, he's very organized and he knows exactly what he wants to hear, and the songs don't need a bunch of work, and the song lyrically deals with being in the world or being in the universe and what our part of is in that.
It's not about any one person, it's about people as a collective, and it's about us kind of taking the next step. But whatever that next step is up to the audience discretion.
Right, so the last 3 lines were inspired by a quote from Maya Angelou. One of the lines is that there's more that connects us than keeps us apart. And then in one of the last 3 lines also talking about bursting into stardust. It's our time to shine, which was a really interesting image for the end of the song, in that we kind of emerge out of who we are into becoming part of the universe. And rambling on here. And I have to say I appreciate the trust that Daniel put in me to allow me to help him to write those last few lines. I hope I didn't dictate too much in that situation. I often do, but no, I'm proud of that work. I'm proud of all of it, but I think this song has a real message in it, and so I like it a bunch.
It's gonna be on the radio.
Fingers crossed it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you want more footage of
like that. Did you got one? Oh, I'll do it again. Woo.
It's still rolling, by the way.
Doing something I'd never otherwise do. Everybody knows me to be so not that way.
We're done. We're done the record. Fucking color this shit in, finish the board. I'll do one, you do one. Well, that only took 3 years to fill in that board. God. Yeah. So there you have it, the making of The Pursuit of Heaviness. As we wrap up, there's a few additional things I'd like to say. The first of which is that there were a lot of reasons this album took as long as it did, and most of them were out of our control, so for that we're sorry. The next one won't take as long. Now that this album is done, the good stuff is just beginning. We've got a content creation winter coming up to follow up on the music we just put out. There's a lot of cool concerts that we're both being considered for and considering. We've put out a whole whack of music videos for this record. We've got more on the way. If there's a song you want a video for that doesn't have one yet, let us know. We're trying to get this out worldwide, and it's already starting. I know This Is the Life already blew up in Mexico, and Enslave Me has already blown up in Brazil. We've seen traction in the US, in many countries across South America, like Peru, Argentina, and Colombia. I've seen people listening to our music in Germany, Spain, India, Portugal, Iceland, Ireland, Australia, France, and even Ukraine. And so many more around the world. We see you, we love you. Thank you for getting this album worldwide. And you know what? If you've liked anything you've seen or heard, the best thing you can do for us is subscribe to our channels. Come to our concerts if you can. Watch the videos, keep listening to the music, and tell your friends. Tell people that there's this Canadian band that worked really hard on something that you like, because even just that one person sharing can make all the difference. We hope you have a safe and prosperous year. Stay happy, stay healthy. This is me signing off on this record. We love it, we love you, and we hope you do too. See you on the next one. So adios, ciao, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen, bye-bye. This is Making of Marilyn Part 2, Take 1. Oh, that clap sucked! There, better. Thank you. We have got 3 claps. Keep dancing.
Keep dancing, man.
So we have a boss-ass bitch going to Redbeard. Also, Paige is with me.
See? Even worse. It doesn't want to do what I do.
But you're a drummer.
Do not put that on face. I know nothing.
Hi, my name's Daniel Martin, and I'm getting ready for this big album that we're going to put out. So we're going to do the infamous workout regimen to get me back into shape. All right, let's do 5 reps. 1, 2, quit moving. 4, 5.
5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2.
So flop it around a bit. Story time while we set up. So Selena, the merch person, she calls me Hun as she. Sorry, was that right? Would you rather me call you something else?
Merchandiser.
Merchandiser. Okay. Merchandising. So she calls me Hun, and her partner says, "Oh, we're on a Hun basis now, are we?" And I was like, "Yeah, but you should hear what she calls me when you're not around." And Paige says, "Oh, you call me? I call you. She calls me." Oh, you need that side. Ah, see. As soon as I get a marker, I'll sign. Once more with feeling for something completely different. 2, 3, 4.